Hey there, home chefs. Now try and imagine having a secret sauce to hand at all times. The kind of thing that makes people go, this must have been ordered from a restaurant. There's no way this could be home cooked. That's what today's video is about. And I'm not talking about some super complex recipe or some crazy ingredient that's hard to find. No. What I'm talking about is probably going to be sitting in your kitchen right now. So let's make a cuppa and get to it. So hold on to your chopping boards and allow me to introduce to you all butter. Okay. But there's more to it than just the butter, okay? So stick with me to find out. Like stick of butter.
Do you get it? Do you get my joke about the track? Okay, there's a whole page of this.
Yes, butter. Cooking with butter is always what a lot of chefs will say is the key to flavour. And that is true. But for us home chefs, we can utilise this magic ingredient in another way, with a few extra enhancements to create the best thing to have at your disposal, and that's compound butter. We take an already incredible flavour agent and whip it up, mixed with different flavours like herbs, spices, or even a citrus zest. Whether you're melting it over a perfectly cooked steak or spreading on toasted bread, every home chef should have a stick of compound butter to hand, ready to break out and elevate your home cooked meals to a whole new level. And the best part is that you simply make a batch every few months and it will always be there for you in the freezer. It's an absolute no-brainer and it's so easy to make, so let's get cooking. To start with, there is one negotiable and one non-negotiable. The negotiable is you can use either unsalted or salted butter. It's up to you. A lot of people will probably say unsalted is preferable as it allows greater control over the seasoning, but I say salted already has the ideal salt level, so you can just not add salt and you're there. The non-negotiable is that the butter needs to be soft, like soft. Otherwise it will become really difficult to whip up and incorporate the other ingredients. So make sure you leave it out of any fridges the day before, and you may even want to blast it in the microwave for 10 to 50 seconds. Don't worry though if you don't have the patience to wait for the butter to soften. I've got a great variation to try that doesn't need soft butter, so stay to the end to check that out. Apart from that, it's very much up to you. You can experiment with different herbs and flavours, but typically garlic is always a good base, and some MSG if you have it. You can make different variations for different foods. Lemon and thyme for fish works well, rosemary and sage for autumnal foods, even sun-dried tomato and basil could work great on some focaccia. One thing to think about is that often there's a fresh or dried version of each ingredient, and if you use the fresh ingredients, the butter won't keep as long if you only plan on having it in the fridge for quick access. If you're freezing the butter, then it's not a problem, but for butter you're planning on using up over the week or so, then the dried options tend to work better. For this video, I'm keeping it simple and neutral with some fresh parsley and garlic for a delicious garlic herb compound butter. Simply chop up the parsley very fine, and try and use a clean slice with a sharp knife for this, so you don't lose any colour and taste from the parsley. A dull knife will crush the herb and force out a lot of moisture. If your board is dry and clean after chopping, you know you've done it right. Add roughly a tablespoon of that per stick of butter, then mince in the garlic and sprinkle in some MSG. For 250 grams butter, I recommend 2 garlic cloves. I've added 3 in the past and find it's just a touch overpowering. Then adjust the salt depending on what type of butter you're using and get to whisking. You should see the butter lighten in colour a bit as it whips, and then once it's all evenly incorporated, you've got it made. Now of course you could go straight into spreading its deliciousness, but it becomes so much more useful when we chill it. So grab some cling film and lay over your chopping board as so, and cut off the roll. Then scoop out the compound butter and lay on the film in a small pile. The classic shape for compound butter tends to be a cylinder. This way we can slice off little discs to use as we desire. So we grab the bottom end of the film and start to fold over, pressing down to help the shape. Continue lifting and folding until you have a cylinder shape, and then we can roll it up in the film. Twist the edges tightly and tuck underneath. Just like that, we have a little cylinder of heaven. And put that in the fridge or freezer for a few hours to chill and firm up. While we wait for that to chill, if you've been enjoying this video, please do subscribe to the channel. I have lots of tips and recipes to help out fellow home chefs, and I hope you can find them useful.
3 hours later.
When you're ready, you can bring out the butter, and congratulations, your home chef game has just been transformed. This ingredient carries so much flavour on top of being good old butter, and will melt beautifully into whatever you're serving. For your next dinner, you can finish it off with an incredible crown that will coat and elevate your steaks, and especially your veggies. No more complaints about boring vegetables when you have this in your arsenal. Compound butter is going to be your new best friend, I can guarantee it. And it was so simple to make. What more could you ask for? Well, funny I should mention, if you are in the mood for elevating even the already elevated, we can try a variation that also means you don't need to remember to soften the butter. What you may have come across before is brown butter, where the milk solids have been caramelized and darkened. This is really flavorful and a little bit nutty and absolutely delicious in its own right. So why not make compound butter out of it? Heat up the butter over a gentle heat, as you don't want any of it to burn, and allow it to simmer until the colour starts to brown. Now while that's browning, there's a little more to it in order to successfully compound. As it's hot, we want to cool it gently, so the best way to do that is to grab a very large bowl and fill with cold water and ice. Then set in that a smaller bowl and pour in the brown butter. Get whisking immediately and keep whisking non-stop. Eventually the butter will cool enough that it starts to solidify and you'll notice it lighten in colour. And at that point, immediately remove it from the ice and scoop into a room temperature bowl. It will solidify very quickly and we want it soft enough to be able to mix in the other ingredients. However, if it does get too solid, don't worry, just put the bowl over some hot water and the steam will loosen that up quite quickly. With all that stunning brown butter, I'm adding the same ingredients as before, but you put in what you fancy. And then, same procedure as before, whip it up, scoop onto cling film, and roll it up for the fridge. Now texturally I will say this works slightly better as a spread before chilling. Add that to some toast and wow is it good. But as a taste enhancer, it is next level. I use it to finish off my mashed potato and I'll never go back. It is just incredible. Make sure you make a cylinder of this every now and then. It makes creating fantastic, delicious meals out of regular weeknight cooking so easy. Have a go yourself, and if you agree, be sure to give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, get cooking.